Hey guys, so I thought I'd just give you a bit of an update on my setup and go through what has changed and what sort of consoles I've now added. So as you can see here, the shelving has changed quite a bit. The old bookshelves that I used to have are now gone. I've now replaced them with these white cube shelves. And as you can see, I've already started to fill them all up. So let's go through each console. So firstly, I've got here the Super Nintendo. So this one here, not much has changed. It's the Super Famicom. It has the Super CIC chip. So it plays pretty much games from every region. Still using the SD to SNES cart. I also have the Super Game Boy here with the Crix EverDrive. The good news now is that the SD to SNES actually supports Game Boy games now. So I actually don't really use this much because the SD to SNES now plays Game Boy games natively. I also have the two wireless control here. This is the 8BitDo wireless DIY kit. And this one here is the 8BitDo, I think it's a Bluetooth one. Moving across here, I have the Mega Drive. This one has been modded, so it has the triple bypass installed. I've got a region switch here, so you can go from Japanese, PAL, and NTSC. I also have the Mega SD, so this plays all my Mega Drive, Master System, and Sega CD games. I also have the two 8BitDo wireless 2.4 GHz controller as well. These are actually really good. I actually really like the feel of these over the original controllers. With this one here, the one of the receiver, I tried to do a firmware update, and when I took it apart, the whole thing kind of fell apart. So pretty much just using the bare PCB for it now. I have emailed them for a replacement, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. Across here, this is the AV Famicom RGB modded with Tim Worthington's NES RGB. It has the 8BitDo Dogbone wireless controller as well, and a EverDrive N8. I was thinking of upgrading to the N8 Pro, but with the pricing difference, I don't see the main advantage at this stage, other than a few ROM hacks, which is only compatible with the Pro version. I really can't justify the price at this stage, but who knows, maybe if they add more features in the future to the N8 Pro, I might consider upgrading it. With this controller here, I actually prefer the original NES controller, so I'm thinking of hunting down one of the original controller and installing the wireless kit into that controller. Moving across here, this is the N64. This is a Japanese model. It has been RGB modded, and it has the EverDrive 64. With this one, I'm using a Gamecube to N64 controller with a wavebed adapter, which essentially gives me a wireless N64 controller. I do have a couple of original controllers in here as well, but for me, I like most of my consoles to have wireless controllers. It just makes it a lot more convenient to play. Moving down here, this is the Gamecube. This one has been, I've installed a GC loader in it, so I can show you. It basically lets you play all your Gamecube game from an SD card. With the Gamecube, to be honest, I mainly use it for the Game Boy stuff anyway. So I've got a Game Boy player down here with a Easy Flash Omega, so it has all the Game Boy Advance games on it, and I use a 8BitDo SNES controller connected to a GameCube adapter to play all my Game Boy games. As I mentioned in my last video, I still want to get that Hori Game Boy controller pad, but as I said, I haven't found one for a decent price yet, but you know, more is still always on the hunt for it. Here is a Sega Saturn. Not much has changed with this one. This has the Phoebe installed, so as again, it plays all the game from SD card. What I've done to this one recently, I've actually done a few internal mods to it. So firstly, I've done the FRAM mod, which essentially allows you to save your game without needing to have the battery installed. So as you know, with the Sega Saturn, it uses a battery for your game backup. When that battery dies, essentially all your game files will be deleted. Now, I learned the hard way because I finished Panzer Dragoon Saga recently, and I've completely forgot about the save battery, and then when I went to play it again, my save file was completely gone. So I was a bit devastated about that. But now with the new FRAM mod, I don't have to worry about it at all. I've also done the switcherless 60-50 Hertz mod, so this can now switch between 50 and 60 Hertz. To be honest, there's not many 50 Hertz game or power games I want to play anyway, so this console is mainly in, it runs at 60 Hertz, and I mainly use it in that mode anyway. As with this, I have a wireless controller. This is the 2.4 gigahertz Retrobit controller by Retrobit. As I said, it's a fairly solid control. I really like it. My only complaint about it is that the LNR button isn't as clicky as the original, but overall it's still a very solid piece of kit. Moving across here, this is the Panasonic 3DO FZ1 model. This one has the optical drive emulator, so it plays all the game from a USB drive. This one has also been RGB modded, so I've got Dan Kun's 3DO RGB. Well worth it alone for the 240p switching. As you know, the 3DO runs in 480i, so it's a bit flickery when you play it on a CRT or any other TVs. There's a switch now installed that basically makes it run natively in 240p, so it makes the game look a lot better, especially when you play it on a CRT. So I said the games on here are fairly interesting. There has been a few games I've picked out that are fairly good, but yeah, the majority are porn games and very weird Japanese sort of games. Moving across here, this is a PlayStation 1. This has a PSIO installed, so it lets you play all your games from an SD card. So this one here, that's pretty much the only mod I've done to it. I have put a blue LED light into it as well, so that looks pretty cool. So with this one, I have a Logitech wireless controller adapter to it, which lets me use a wireless Logitech controller. This is a Logitech Action Pro controller, I believe. Now, I had a few questions in regards to the adapter and how I managed to fit the adapter in with the memory card. So from what I understand, this particular model, so this particular adapter fits on the PS1. There's a few different ones you can get. So there's a black one, which goes with the black Action controller, which doesn't fit, or it won't fit flush with the memory card. So if you're looking at getting one of these adapters for your PS1, make sure you get the silver one, because it will fit flush, and it will allow you to use your existing memory card with it as well. Moving down here, this is just all my boxes and a couple of handhelds. I've got a couple of Game Boy Colors in there, DS, DSi, PS Vita. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of handhelds. What I find is I like modding and putting, upgrading them all, but when it comes to playing games, I prefer to sit down and play, comfortably on a bigger screen, or on my couch. Handheld gaming, I'm not really a big fan of, but I do love modding them and upgrading them all. So this was one of my latest purchase. This is a Atari Jaguar. No mods have been done to it yet. I am looking at doing the 60 Hertz mod to it, but the documentation online is a bit hasn't been well documented yet, so I'm waiting to find a good tutorial before I actually attempt the mod. I do have the Jag GD on order as well, so hopefully that arrives soon, because at the moment this is the only game I've got for Dino Dudes. It's not a bad game, but I said I want to explore the rest of the library, but at the same time I don't want to spend the money on buying physical games. Next one is the Sega Dreamcast. This also has a SD card reader, so the GDMU. No mods on this one really. I was thinking of doing the DC Digital or DC Dreamcast HDMI mod, but I mainly play this on a CRT anyway, so Didn't really see the need to, but yeah, haven't played it as much recently because I've pretty much finished all the exclusive titles on the Dreamcast, so I mainly fire up once in a while for Crazy Taxi. I have put a blue LED onto it though, which looks fairly cool. Alright, so this one here, this is an interesting console. So I found this on Facebook Marketplace for a fairly decent price, and you know, with these, this is a Apple Pippin. They don't come up often on eBay, so to find one local, it was, you know, a huge surprise for me. This one, it has some interesting games, and it has no copy protection as well, so I've been burning a couple of games to try out on it. A lot of educational software. The only gripe, or the only thing I hate about this is that it doesn't, or it does VGA out, but it doesn't do RGB. It does S-Video, however, S-Video on it looks a bit crap. So hopefully someone finds a way to, you know, get this to output RGB. I have done VGA to my OSSC with this, and it does look really good. But I really want a way to see if I want to find a way if we can get RGB out of this. I really like the controller as well. It reminds me of the PlayStation 3, the prototype controller, the Boomerang. Alright, so next one up here, this is the PlayStation 2. To be honest, probably one of my most neglected console. I never had a PlayStation growing up, so I never played or never grew up with any of the games. So I know there's a lot of great games on here, but I don't know, I just couldn't get into the PlayStation 2. This one has a 2 terabyte hard drive installed. It also has a wireless controller as well, so it has the Logitech action pad controller. Now this one here, this is probably one of my most favorite purchase recently. This is the Geo AE. This one here has been RGB bypassed, and I've also got a blue LED light, power light installed there as well, and it also has the Neo SD Pro. So I've pretty much pimped this whole, or done every upgrade I can to this console. It's been recapped and everything inside as well. But yeah, this is probably my most favorite console recently. This one here, I currently have it playing at the moment. So this is Prehistoric Isle. It's a shoot 'em up, and this is probably one of my most favorite games so far. It's basically a shoot 'em up, and you're trying to shoot down dinosaurs while trying to rescue hostages at the same time. Really awesome graphics, and with this one, I still can't believe the sort of graphics that we get out of it. It was released around the same time as the SNES, but it was supported well into early 2000s. Probably one of my most favorite console. It wasn't the cheapest, but to me, it was well worth the purchase. I also have a Brook PS3 and PS4 adapter to it, which lets me use a PlayStation controller on the Neo Geo. I have a few arcade sticks over here, but to be honest, when I sit down and play, I prefer to use a controller, especially with shooting games. Fighting games, fair enough. I try to use a fight stick when I can, but when I'm just sitting down playing shooting games, I prefer to just use a controller. Moving across here, this is the PC Engine Geo AE. This is it has been RGB bypassed. I've also got the Turbo EverDrive. With this, I also have a Brook adapter, which lets me use a PS3 controller on the PC Engine. As you know, the PC Engine controller, the cord is very short. So I actually have one of the Avenue pads here, but yeah, the length on this is very short. So when I like to play games, I like to just sit back and sort of not worry about cables. So that's why I try to have all my controllers upgraded with wireless controllers. This one here is the Philips CDI. In my last video, I said I really wanted one, so I managed to find one for a really good price. So it was faulty when it first arrived, the disk drive didn't work, so all I had to do was replace the drive belt, and now it works fine. This is the controller for it. Not the most comfortable control. I am still on the hunt for an official Philips CDI controller, so the one that actually looks like a gamepad. Haven't found one for a decent price, and the ones that I found are all in the UK, so shipping to Australia is a bit too much. But yeah, very interesting consoles. This one here has no copy protection as well, so you pretty much burn and just play copy games on it as well. So yeah, there's a bit of an overview on the console setup there. As you see, I sort of filled up every cubby already, so if I am looking at adding more consoles, I might have to sort of, you know, rethink the shelving solution again. Also, in my last video, I mentioned that I was running out of SCART switch or SCART ports, and I didn't know how to mount the switch. So as you can see here, what I've done is I've mounted the SCART switch onto the side of the shelf. So there's the Hydra there, and I've also added another board which gives me another, I believe it's 12 inputs, so I now have a total of 24 SCART inputs, and as you can see, they're pretty much all in use except for one. So not sure what I'm going to do when I run out of space on there as well, but I think I can probably mount another SCART switch if I move this one down. So if I do decide to add more consoles in the future, I can always rethink the SCART solution there as well. So with this one here, it has two outputs. So one goes into my RGB monitor. This is a JVC TM150CG, and the other one goes into the OSSC there, which then outputs to my capture card and also my PC monitor. Capture card, I've been experimenting with game capture and streaming and all that, not too much, but I am thinking of starting to stream a few of these games on Twitch. But yeah, let me know if you guys will watch, because I am you know, thinking of perhaps getting into that as well. But mainly it's just mainly for game capture at this stage. I mainly play on here, so I sit back and play on the TV. It's a lot more comfortable. But yeah, that's pretty much it really. I said a lot has changed. But yeah, hopefully, you know, this gives you guys a bit of an insight as to what I've done to my setup. If you have any questions, leave them in a comment. So what next? So next for me is I want to upgrade the rest of the controllers to wireless. So at the moment, the Dreamcast still uses the original controller. So I'm trying to hunt down a wireless solution to use to get wireless controller working on the Dreamcast. I'm still looking at the Dreamcons at the moment, but they are a bit pricey. But who knows? Maybe I just have to bite the bullet and just pick one up. But yeah, thanks heaps for watching, guys. I hope you all stay safe during these weird times that we're going through at the moment. But yeah, until next time, peace.